So we're going to do something a little bit different. I got an email earlier today. I'm not going to reveal the character that sent it to me, but it's a teacher of awareness. And we used to have, he used to, well, the character, I should not say, the character used to comment, these long comments on my YouTube. Was just really curious about, what was being said. And what was resulted was I invited the apparent teacher to a Zoom meeting. And this teacher sent me a letter. Hi, Emerson. I am sorry I'm not going to be able to attend your event, but I have a very huge favor to ask. For our last conversation, if you can keep my identity anonymous, since I'm still a teacher of non-duality, but flirting with disaster, that all I've been teaching is moot and somewhat dualistic. After our one-on-one, there has been a lot of clarity, but I don't know how to put it into words. I have been teaching for more than a couple of decades now. Can you put a nail in the coffin and deconstruct the teaching of I am, awareness, consciousness? Sure. So here it goes. This might land a lot of trouble, but who cares? So what's being expressed here, and basically this person sent me a whole bunch of notes, just basically statement on how to deconstruct it. When there was teaching here, there was a certainty, there was a position, there was an authority, and that authority came from, as I mentioned before, various teachers in the past, sages and saints and all that whole shebang. So what's being expressed here is that the I am is a realization that is, let's just say it, another idea, another concept. If there is no I am, who realizes that there's no I am? In other words, who is inquiring what? Who is aware of what? What is witnessing what? So the first point that this character sent me is, I am not this person, this body, or anything, as I can't be what I perceive. I am not this body or mind. See, the problem here, there's no problem. It is whatever it is that ownership. Even though it's being expressed that there's no person, there's no body, there's no mind, there is somewhat a position, the I am position, where this is coming from. So there is a witness, really duality, of what's being expressed as something that is obvious. It can also be expressed that there is no person, there's no body, there's no mind, there's no anything. Since there is no position here, since there's no one here that can come up with this apparent realization, it's not a realization, it is simply what is. It's not about uniting, it's not about realizing, it's not about understanding. So what's being expressed is that this is simply as it is, that there might be a sense that there's a body, there's a person, but there's really no person and there's no body and there's no mind. There's no dualism. It's just what it is. It's just an appearance of what is appearing as it is. So basically what's being expressed is clarifying an apparent error in realization. Again, if there is no I am who realizes that there's no I am, what is an I am in the first place? What is it? Where does it come from? Was there an original thought? Was there a primordial thought? But a thought is a thought. An idea is an idea. So coming from an idea to present an idea is just a circular identity. As I mentioned in the talk, this is like burning all the sacred cows. This is, and what seems to be the most sacred cow is that the I am, the consciousness, the awareness, the pure awareness, the witness of the consciousness, the I am, the self. because it's imagined. It's a position. It's just another morphing of the self, the source, the universe. And it is coming from that idea that there's something that realizes this, that there's something that is incomplete, that there's something that has to be united, that has to be realized, that has to be integrated, that has to be applied, that has to be the known or the unknown uniting, or the consciousness, awareness, and that kind of stuff. Again, there's nothing wrong or right about that, but it comes from a belief system. And the biggest sacred cow is the belief in a higher self, a belief in consciousness, a belief in awareness, a belief in the universe. There's nothing wrong or right about that, but it's a belief system. And when there's a belief system that is the basis of all of this, then it becomes another idea, it becomes another attainment, it becomes another knowing. So the burden of knowing is that no one knows, but you think that someone knows, that there is a historical figure that has figured all of this out, that there is a lineage, or there is some scriptures that has the authority for what is being expressed. And again, that's just a circular entrapment. It's like a prison, although there's no one in prison, but it can get caught up in this idea of an ownership. And the next one that was mentioned is, I am the self, the witness of consciousness, pure awareness. Again, when there is an ownership that you are the witness, you are the awareness, you are the consciousness, there is a from here to there. There is a journey, so to speak. There's a path. There's nothing wrong or right about a path or a journey, but what's being expressed is already this. It's already done. It's already complete. And any floral words that can keep the seeking seemingly alive is just regurgitated ideas of what is supposed to be an absolute position, a divine clarity, or something that is protected, something that's maintained, something that is known, something that has been passed on. What I like about communicating what is it, because it doesn't have a lineage, it doesn't have an authority, it doesn't have a prior. What's being expressed here is the obviousness that this is directly as it is already. It's already complete. It doesn't need any dogma, it doesn't need any saying, it doesn't need any quotes. It's simply appearing as it is. And when there's this clarity, where is the I am in that? Where is the consciousness in that? Where is the awareness in that? It's absent. It's absent. It's gone. It's zero. It's nil. So then the argument might be that there must be something where there is this coming from. There must be a source. There must be a higher self or something. But nothing is nothing. Nothing will never be understood because it's simply nothing. Nothing is sometimes becomes almost like the final sacred cow. Because when I encountered this communication, I was watching or witnessing the me. When is the me going to disappear? When is the me going to drop? And I would create this mantra, there's no me, there's no me, there's no me. So for some apparent seekers, nothing has become a destination. It can be called, dropping away of the me, but that's just another idea of something that is missing, something that is lacking, something that has to be getting rid of. And it's the same idea as becoming the I am, or becoming the witness of consciousness, or being aware of awareness. There is a doing, there is a happening, there is a getting to, there is a noticing, but that's dualistic. Again, there's nothing wrong or right about dualism or non-dualism. It's just a concept. It's just an idea. Everything is just an idea. But when when what's being expressed is just simply this. I can just stop there. It's just simply this. And it's just very, very simple. So there's no way of getting to this by thinking about another this. Simply the self, I am, consciousness, awareness, is this getting to this? Is this higher this, witnessing this being aware of this, which is all of this? Well, when you basically see that there's just a circular motion in trying to arrive at something that is not really an arrival, not really a realization, not really an attainment, because attaining, realizing is a doing. When no one realizes this and there's just this simply appearing as simply this, then you see the whole house burning. Then you watch it, you sit back. All the belief, all the ideas, even the most sacred cow of the I am, the source, the self, the awareness, consciousness, all of the practices, all of the sages, all of the saints, all of the teachers, all of the speakers, all of the sayings, it doesn't matter anymore. Because there's no investment in this. What this is appearing simply as it is. And what is already this. It doesn't need anything to, there's no authority. There's no one that can bless you to get this. There's no one that can say that, oh, you finally realized this, because all of those are stories. And I'm just going to wrap this up quickly because it's probably going to be a lot of questions about the I am. And there's still a lot of questions that I'm not going to cover because it's just really repetitious. I'm just simply any kind of personalization, any kind of ownership is an activity of the illusory me. And what best to maintain an illusion is to reinsert it in everything. Rather than saying that it's just simply this appearing as it is, it's really nothing, it's everything. Then it becomes my nothing. See, if you add the word my nothing being everything, my nothingness, my emptiness, that's what is with the I am teachings and the awareness. It becomes my awareness, my consciousness, my witnessing, my doing. Instead of really just nothing, because nothing cannot be figured out, it cannot be thought of. It simply is the absence of everything. There is a singularity in non-duality. The singularity in non-duality is the ownership that I am the only one. I cannot witness your thoughts because all that I can perceive is just my thoughts, my mind. So just a little bit step further back and you see that that's just another narrative of duality, because there's a my now and there's an everything that I have to get to, that I am not fully settled in, or I am not completely aware, or I'm not quite there yet. So burn all the books and enjoy what is being as it is, no matter what it is. Because a lot of the teachings, a lot of the knowing, a lot of it's just a circular reinterpretation of belief system that is hard to burn, that is hard to let go, because it's seemingly in the story, seemingly it's ingrained in a lot of characters. Kind of like what I said before, it's kind of like that Santa Claus story. When that falls apart, then everything seems to fall apart. When there is a held on to belief system that is protected, that is revered, that is put in a pedestal, that has to be maintained, then what is becomes an interpretation of what is from an authority, according to whoever you listen to. According to this is what freedom is. Freedom has to unite with the pure freedom. But that's not freedom. That's an idea of freedom. Unconditional freedom is not an idea. It's not a dogma. It's not a teaching. It's not even a communication. Freedom is appearing as it is, like the trees, the ants, the dogs. Characters speaking about this. If you have any questions, please go ahead. And I'm sorry for the for that character. I'm not going to cover everything because it's just really repetitious. The questions basically are, the word only exists as a dream in my consciousness. So there's always a my. There's always an ownership. I alone, I am the supreme. So that's just another kind of like, position. It becomes my self-consciousness. And I used to, and there is a lot of similarities, because in some of this teaching, but one of the most common, glaring obviousness is that there is still an I, there is still a my, there is still a separation, there is still a hierarchy seemingly. Although at the end they say that the absolute is everything, but returning to the absolute is just another idea, because the absolute is a position, it's an idea, or self-realization. There's no self to realize the self. It's just all illusion. There's a lot of questions there. I'll do a one-on-one with this character more and just kind of like go to this, unless you guys want to go through it. It's a lot. There's the way to self-realization, the way of self-realization, witness, attitude, awareness, meditation. Again, it's just all a narrative of getting to somewhere, because what is seen is that, what is experienced in this story is that this is not it. So there's always a getting to what it should be. Thank you. Lauren, please go ahead. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
And well, it's a beautiful day here. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't really like the debate with the awareness people.
Yeah. It is what it is, but seemingly a lot of people listen to this coming from the awareness, right? It's almost like a comparison. It's almost like you're saying the same thing, and it's just a story. Even this is a story, but go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, no, totally. Well, just when I was listening to you, because I did start to really appreciate it when you were saying like how it all becomes my, right?
Yes. It becomes your, my, yeah.
It's like, that's the elephant in the room. But, and then, yeah. And then for that to be claimed to be non-duality, then every single thing would be my.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's almost like solipsism. If you really look at it, there's solipsistic that I alone exist. You know what I'm saying? But that's still dualistic, because there's existence and there's I.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but what I was kind of like, what came up was two things. And the first is just a comment in a way. Like it seemed like the other end of the spectrum from that kind of like deconstruction that you were doing is something I heard another speaker say, which was actually, we can't even be sure that this is happening.
Yeah.
You actually just acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
There's no certainty, right? There's just this openness that it's like we're fucked.
Yeah.
There's no knowing this.
Yeah.
And that's also the liberation. That's also the freedom, right? Well, you know what? I just watched everything burn down, so now I'm free. But there's no I. It's just freedom.
And it's such a persistent illusion that
it is. Yeah, it is.
Like
it is.
Aspect seems to like emerge and say something, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to believe that thought, and it's like, oh, who's going to believe anything? There is no
yeah
one.
yeah
But anyway,
It's almost like, it's almost like schizophrenia, the I am, the mind,
I know.
right? It's or when there is an apparent kind of like dropping away and there's a yo-yoing or an oscillation, right? It's like, I'm here again. I was not there before. But who it's still nothing, right?
Yeah. And so then one thing that came up, and I haven't thought about it because I don't tend to try to analyze these things, but when you were talking, I'm just putting it out there. It's like,
Yeah.
when Kenneth says things just come up, they're just to be said. So is all perception imagined?
Yeah. Because who's the perceiver? It's also imaginary. See, that's again, that's another point that's there, right? So when there is an idea that there is a source, there's an original perceptor, but really there's no perceptor. It's kind of like if you make the example of a dream at night, right? There's no perceiver. Because the moment that it ends, it collapses into nothing, completely nothing.
Yeah.
Everything that is happening in the dream, the perceiver, the perception, everything that is seen, is all fantasy.
Got it. So there's no perception. There's just what's apparently happening.
Yeah. It's just really simple, right? It can really be summed up in a couple of sentences. It's just simply this. It is what it is. What is. And everything that comes is just the floral arrangement of nothing. And it's just beautiful, or sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But that's all that there is. It's just there's this, it's yeah, because all of these words, even that's why I keep on changing words, are just circular. If you look up a word in a dictionary, it's just a bunch of words. There's no truth to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the last thing is, what is this notion of being like unsticky or bulletproof?
When everything has seemingly, and this is just a story, right? When everything has seemingly collapsed, one of the first thing that I said is like, I feel like before it was a frying pan that's really old, that everything, all the eggs stuck in it and all the, food that you cooked in it. But seemingly what happened is I feel like I'm a Teflon now. Everything just slides. Like there is a knowing, or there's an idea, or there's a concept, or there is a story, and it slides quite fast. Like water off a duck's back. Nothing is held onto anymore. Nothing is ruminated, or nothing is made into something. Nothing is like I'm not trying to say, is that awareness, or is that pure, or is that there's just every idea, every single concept is burnt down, sucked in. It's almost like nothing. It's like when you're dreaming at night, you don't walk around the entire day trying to figure out what you dreamed of. It's just a dream. It felt absolutely real, but it's just a dream. It's just an illusion.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Tej. Hi, Tej.
Hi, Emerson.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Early morning here. So I just wanted to add, that was a beautiful exposition of, deconstructing all that stuff. But one of the things that, you and I have discussed before, I just wanted to add to that logically and scientifically speaking, separation is an illusion.
Yes. Yes.
And that's really is a killer.
It is a killer. It's like the thing that is often missed with this one is they think that there's a dreamer, but the dreamer is also an illusion, because that's separation.
Yeah,
not it's all a dream.
Everything that we think of as this or that includes time, that includes space, because time is past, present, future.
Yes.
That's an illusion. Space here and there is an illusion. You and me is an illusion.
It is.
Everything is an illusion because there is no separation.
There's never been any separation, and that's what is maintained in awareness is, it's really subtle, because you know what, a lot of what's being said in some of these teachings are very similar to, they'll say that time and space are imagined, thinking, perception, all that kind of stuff is an illusion. But there is a perceiver of all of this. There is an awareness to all of this, which is separation, which is another illusion.
Which is separation.
Yeah. So there is this, there is a specialized, let's just say it, right? Of almost like everything is an illusion except this, which is dualistic already, right? Everything is not real except pure consciousness. That's the only thing that's real. But that's dualistic. If it's expressed that everything is an illusion, everything is, including the idea of pure consciousness, or highest awareness. I don't know what words. It's just a perception, and the perceiver is questionable. We don't know.
Because of the separation.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. And that's just an illusion as well. It's quite maybe one time, because I've had conversation with this teacher, and which I really, really like, to be honest with you. And because there's an openness there. But even though the teacher has been teaching for a couple of decades, I guess, and was into the Nisargadatta teachings and Ramana Maharshi teachings, right? And there was an openness there. There's a lot of cracks, right? A lot of plot holes in teachings, because when it's being expressed that it's all that there is this, let me get you there. Let me show you a way how to get there. So there is an addressing of a separation. The moment that one is addressed, the moment that one is directed, or self-inquired or pointed at, right? Then it becomes this persistent illusion of separation again. Yeah.
And
so it's,
even if you kind of reflect on it, really no separation means finally that there is nothing.
That's right. Yeah, it is. It's just nothing, and not even nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's saying something. You can't even say it, because
you can't even say it. Yeah. It's simply I like the simplicity of this. It's just as it is. It's what is. Simply just this. It's just that simple. But of course, inquiring apparent minds want to know what is, and it becomes this big discussion. And of course, when what is seen, and there is a religiousness or kind of like a spiritual background to it, then it attributes what is to the source. It becomes the higher self. It becomes consciousness. It becomes awareness. So there's still a sacred cow there that is hidden with this, right? So it's still kind of like a it's not willing to it's, how do I say it? Let's just say it. It's just when there's a realization, it's false. Because who realizes it?
Yeah.
Like, who is going to figure this out?
Separation is actually quite beautiful.
It is, because it doesn't have to be realized.
Yes.
It is what it is already.
Yeah.
You don't even need science to see that.
Yeah.
Or logic or thinking or practice or anything. This is just not separated. There's no such thing as separation. It's just an illusion. And then this wondrous nothingness, emptiness is appearing as a myriad of colors, kind of like what we're talking about, that there are no colors. But we're looking at colors, but there are no colors. But there's no we that's looking at, because there's nothing that's being looked at.
Yeah, therein lies the real beauty.
Yeah. That's what the wow, right? There's like,
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Leah. Hey, Leah. Oh, I can't hear Leah. You're muted.
Oh, there.
Oh, sorry.
Do you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Okay. Hi, Emerson.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. So I wanted to share my crazy story.
Yes, please go ahead. I love hearing your stories.
Because it feels like it feels like it's such a pivotal moment for this character. A lot shifted since. So
Good.
Yeah. So it's so interesting because I went on a terrible date, the worst date of my life.
Yeah.
And he took me to a comedy show, and we sat front and center in front of the comedian. And the comedian just went on ripping Republicans and beliefs and vaccines, and she was just hardcore. My mouth open because I couldn't believe it. She saw my mouth open because I was in the front row. And she started ripping on me so hard, mean. And everybody was laughing at me, and I looked around and I'm like, this is like a bad dream. Like, is
like
this
a nightmare,
real?
right?
Am I being punked?
It's like they're all laughing at you, kind of thing.
The whole room. I was like, what is going on? And then I look at my date and he's laughing. And I said, I'm so uncomfortable. I want to leave.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, go ahead. And I walked out. So, hooking
what
into
a horrible
my character,
date.
I was so mad. It was the worst ever, Emerson. And so I walked to my car in the freezing cold rain, like a mile, just like almost crying inside, and really hooked into the whole scenario and my character. Then the next day she gloated on social media, and friends showed me. Yeah, it was a huge public thing.
Oh, no.
So, I had a moment to absorb
Delete
it. I'm
block.
like, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is me pretty much effing with myself.
Yeah.
It's all just this one happening. And it was seen through that I'm hooking into the character, like Leah with this scenario. And then all of a sudden, the Leah started to disappear. And it was like, oh, it's just this.
Yeah.
It's just simply this.
Yeah.
And then I started laughing so hard.
It doesn't have to be this blissful thing, right? It could be this horrific thing, like what happened to you. It's just this. That's also that.
But it feels more lighthearted now. Like, gosh, in my character story, it took such a crazy scenario to wake me up further. But
because there was an ownership to it, right? It's like a trigger, saying like, oh, I got triggered, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And now it's just like I've been marveling at everything arising and not hooking in or feeling these dense emotions anymore. It's been a week, but it's holding. It's been quite incredible. Yeah.
When it's just what is. It's so simple, right? No practice needed, no nothing needed. It's just what is. What is arising is as it is. Right. So it could be, and sometimes it's nice to have those apparent moments of nightmarish situations, right? Because you get
not in the moment, but
but you get so caught up in it that you believe that, you believe that's basically it, that there is this separation, that there's an audience, there's a you, there's a date, and there's a post, it's just this, it's this very elaborate kind of like almost like a prank.
Yeah, it felt like it. But now thinking back, it just feels so vivid, like a dream, and it doesn't stick. And it's just kind of, okay, well, that happened, and moving right along, life happening. And
and some dreams are very vivid, right?
Yeah.
Some dreams are very vivid. I remember a dream that I had. Well, this was when I was really young, and I did a dance battle, like break dancing and everything, and my meniscus, I had a meniscus tear because of break dancing. So after the dance, I was like walking in shame, kind of like limping, and I've always remembered that, and I was very insecure about dancing, with battle dancing anyway. But that never happened as well. It felt absolutely real, but it's a dream. It's a dream. The whole thing is a dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at that time, there was a lot of, shame. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm like, I don't have to own the dream. It's just
No.
simply what's arising. So that feeling of hooking in so deeply, like my reaction, what
my
happened to
reality.
me, get my reality, all that is kind of like seen through. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is absurd.
It becomes a comedy show after.
Yeah, now it's actually a comedy show. Yeah.
But what a horrible date.
The worst. Yeah. Yeah, never again.
And it was posted on the social media?
Yeah, apparently
posted?
this woman, she'd been on Jimmy Fallon and she's building a name for herself, but she went on her Twitter, her Facebook. My friends were showing me gloating about how she had me leave the room and joking about me. And yeah.
Oh, it is what is. It's just what's arising.
That's it. So yeah.
I'm glad you're smiling about it now.
Yeah, it's seen through now, so it's all good. Yeah.
Oh, good,
but,
good.
Yeah, thank you, Emerson.
Oh, thank you, Leah. Yeah. I did nothing, but yeah. Oops, what happened there?
I don't know.
What happened? Oops. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, thank you, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Just a second.
Oh, no.
I don't know what's happening.
There you go.
What's happening?
I don't know. It's not allowing me to have a side-by-side spotlight, apparently. It's okay.
Well, I was going to tell something funny.
Go ahead. Oh, there it is. It's working again.
Tej knows. And Ileana would know. I just have an L on my screen. Who's L?
I have no idea.
Oh, you have open somebody. You have. It was Leah's screen.
Oh no, it's you. It's Kathy and Emerson now.
Okay. So anyway, so I was reading something on whatever, the internet, whatever. It was, Tim Kliss, right?
Oh yeah.
Emerson?
Yes, I know Tim.
Oh, okay. I thought you froze. Okay. So anyway, he was doing this stuff with Nikosi, these little like 2-minute things or whatever. So one of the things he said, now I don't have my paper with me, so don't take it verbatim. Thing
no
like,
worries.
and it was just him talking. I don't even think he said something like, it's like you have to take a pen and draw a line, and draw a line around everything. And you could even make arbitrary lines.
Yeah.
So dum-dum, stupido, goes to his meeting. And I said, because I really thought he had to draw lines around everything.
Oh, you're cutting out,
Kathy. Like, Kathy.
Can you repeat that? Or you just cut out there for a moment. So you said you have to draw a line?
He was like, I said, Tim, I read the statement to him, okay? I read about drawing lines around everything. So he was like, Kathy, you're pathetic. He picks up his coffee cup and he goes, do you think I had to draw a line around this? But, he was like, that's a poetic license, that what I was saying. And I was like, well, I didn't say anything because I was so humiliated. I just had to get off the Zoom right away. I was like, oh, geez. But afterwards, but wait. Between the guy that was hosting, his name is Darren, I think. he
Oh,
was
Darren,
like,
yeah.
yeah, he was like, well, he was like, yeah, there is even space. Like, if you look at everything, there's space next to it. And like, there's no separation because, I'm looking at two trees, there's a big space in between the two trees. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Or no.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
You're just frozen right now, Kathy, just to let you know.
So then Tim said, he said, in actuality, there's no in between.
No, what's that?
Yeah. It was wild. It was totally wild because I really did see, because didn't you ever like, I don't know if people are going to be like, this is too weird. Like, did you ever like pick up something like to use, let's just say, I don't know, let's say a paintbrush.
Yes.
But this would be a real heavy duty painter. I don't know. I'm just saying, imagine picking up a tool even, and you don't know where you ended and the tool began.
Yeah, it's like DJing for me. Like DJing, there's really no one doing any of it, right? So again, it's just the idea of separation is just another illusion. It's just a felt sense, apparent reality, but reality is an illusion. So there's this persistent idea that there's separation, but separation is simply imagined. It's a construct. I like that, that you have to draw a line. Like, if you look at the geography, like the maps and everything, you won't see any kind of like, if you fly over Canada and the US, you're not going to say Canada. Oh, there's Canada. It says Canada or US in the map. It's just ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he was saying, you go from state to state, but there's physical lines of demarcation, but there's really not. It's just one's united. Yeah. But anyway, it was kind of funny because, at first he made me feel pathetic. He was like, oh, come on. Because it was a minute there. I thought, yeah, shit. I said, boy, he really sees things, doesn't? I said, you really see things, don't you? Because, if you're only, whatever. So anyway, it was funny. It was pretty funny. Anyway, that's
no
it.
worries.
That was, thanks. Oh, but I did have another question.
Sure.
Okay. This is what, you say. I've heard other people say it, and I forget, you said, it's just this, it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard other people say it's complete.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's done. It never started, so it's done. It never began. It never will end. It's just this. So any idea of seeking is just an idea of seeking. Kind of like separation is just an illusion. There's no separation. It's just an illusion. It's
so
done.
you just that it never started.
No.
That's what you just said.
Yeah.
Never started.
Yeah. Nothing ever started.
Okay.
So nothing will ever.
Nothing ever started.
Sorry, your line is cutting in and out now, Kathy. I can barely hear you. Can you guys hear? No. You might have to go to a different location.
Okay. I know. I'm in the woods, so.
Okay.
So it started, it never started, doesn't mean it's done.
You're still cutting. Hello? Yeah, just a second. It's something started. Sorry, you're cutting super in and out now.
All right, bye. I'll ask again later when I'm in another spot.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Oops. Oh, shoot. I forgot these questions. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I forgot to open the chat to everyone. Sorry about that. there's a question here. Listening to the lady with the bad date. What if your life seems like bad dates every day and people are apparently laughing? It is what it is. But there's also no oh, Anne. So go ahead, Anne. You were trying to say
Hello.
something? Hello.
Yeah, it was, that was my question.
Yes.
Yeah. So it it seems reinforcing if the situation.
Oh, I can barely hear you, Anne. Can you you're
Hopefully
cutting in and
I'm
out too. I don't think it's my connection's pretty strong here. Maybe it's okay. We'll just wait for Anne to come back. I think she's just trying to sign back in. Or not. The chat is open to everyone. Sorry about that earlier. Oh, Anne, go ahead, please. There you go. That's
sure
better.
what's going on. I can't hear you.
I can hear you now.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just do this. See if it makes any difference.
I'm waving to you, Anne.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Much better.
Okay. Yeah, it's like it seems, well, it is. It seems there's situations that just keep happening the same. So it's almost like
like a recurring like a recurring dream, right? Or a recurring nightmare.
I guess that's one. Yeah. That's a description. But okay. So if I just speak, it just, so there are people that do things, but it's like a constant.
Mm-hmm.
So like every day, and it's like, but it seems reinforcing because I get drawn back into the story.
Yes.
Because of the feelings that come up.
So in the story, there are some recurring things, like bad dates or or being attracted to certain types of whatever. Could be, some people like spicy food, it's just what's happening. But there's also, it feels absolutely real, but just like a dream, there is no permanence in it. But when there is a paying attention to the recurring dreams, you know what I'm saying, then it becomes this seemingly constant happening when there's nothing really constant. Everything that's appearing is just like ephemeral. It's like fleeting. It's just passing. But seemingly, you know what I'm saying, when there is a holding on to stories, it seems to appear, and this is just a story as well. It doesn't have to be. It seems to appear over and over and over again, right? It's like a pattern. It's like when I was dating, I guess it was just more kind of like a almost like, what do you call that? A jump from one to another, seemingly, right? because it was just used to that pattern over and over again, like a serial monogamist, seemingly, right? Just goes into relationships and relationships and relationship. But there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what's happening in the story. There's also, you know, that could be really pleasant or unpleasant, but both pleasant or unpleasant are just a narrative of what is. Yeah. It's like for a period of time, I had this recurring nightmare of drowning until it stopped. Yeah. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It seems like, you know, like it seems like life becomes this but everything is, you know, and maybe you don't notice this, but everything is seemingly reset. Everything, and there's not even any moments. There's this singular what isness that's not even happening. So when they're seeing that there's just really nothing, and not even nothing, because you can't really put a finger to it, what is seems just to be like, oh wow, you know, it's not trying to fight it or trying to think it's good or bad. Even when that happens, it is what is, right? It's just kind of like, you know, when you can start laughing about it. Kind of like what Leah did.
But it's the relax, when there's no holding, it's easily let go. When there's a holding, it's like there's a connecting of this to this to this to this to this. And, you know, kind of being able to hold on to it, to sit on it, stop it moving, and
it is it's kind of like eating something bad for you and you get like heartburn all the time. But you keep on eating it and eating it and eating it. Really, there's no one choosing anything, because if there was a choice, surely you would not have any more bad dates. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
There's a question here. Hi, Emerson. Thank you so much for talking about the I am. I'm one of those characters too that was really confused, and I think that really hit the spot. The only thing that I'm holding on to, and I think you mentioned this, is that in the teachings, it mentions that there's only one dreamer, the one self dreaming many dreams. Can you elaborate on that one, please? Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you. I think I was beginning to touch on that earlier anyway. When there is a dreamer and a dream, when there's only one dreamer, for example, the one source of dreams, consciousness or whatever, dreaming many dreams, that's very, again, that separation is just another illusion. So a dreamer and a dream is separate. So when it's mentioned that this is the dream, it's just the dream. The dreamer is the illusion. So there's really no dreamer. There's no self that's dreaming this, because that's illusory. Kind of like how simply Tej put it earlier, was just really brilliant. Illusion, the separation is an illusion. So that implies that there is someone dreaming that will wake up to this. So what's being expressed here is that when it's seen that it's a dream, the dreamer evaporates, meaning that there's no separate one dreamer. It's just a singular dream that's not even happening, because a dream is a dream. It's not even real. There's no dreamer, or there's no oneself, or there's no separate that's going to awaken, because no one went to sleep. Because sleeping, even if you look at it, sleeping and dreaming are illusory, because there is separation there. There's dualism in that. So what's being expressed is just this singular zero. Singular meaning that there's just this dream. And because the dream is not even real, it's nothing. It always boils down to nothing happening. But thank you for that question. It's very attractive though to think that you're the one that's dreaming this. Yeah. Question. You always mention the dream of separation. Yes. So you can also change the word dream into illusion. So separation is an illusion. So this is an illusion because there seemingly is a separation. There's a speaking happening, a listening happening, but there's really no listening or talking happening. It's just really nothing. It's like when there is a dream or an illusion, once it's seen that there's just this empty nothing appearing as fullness, then what is appearing or what is inging or what is moving or what is happening is illusory. For example, when there is a dreaming at night, everything that is in that dream, once it's seen, there's this clarity when the eyes open, although this is just a story, that nothing really happened. It could be this horrific, like a repetitious nightmare over and over again. And then when there is a seeing or clarity that nothing really happened, nothing has ever happened. This is not even happening, but it seems like it's happening. And that's usually the relaxation or the relief that although there is this felt sense of separation, there's also nothing happening simultaneously appearing as this, whatever this is. Would it be, this question here, would it be easier just to say that what this is the source, is the self, is the awareness? It is quite easy to say that, but that's also coming to a position. That's also coming into a realization. But since there is no one here to realize any of that, or there's no one there as well, if this is a whole illusion, how could someone realize something? It's kind of like, it's like, that's an illusion, that's an illusion, that's an illusion, but I'm not an illusion. I am the only reality. And that will be dualistic. That will be another illusion. So thinking that there is someone separate that's got it, someone that has realized this, is again being caught up in the fantasy of separation. Because when someone realizes, someone awakens or something, then there is a separation. What's being expressed here is that there's the non-separateness, the wholeness, the completeness of everything, of what's appearing, is already as it is. There's no one that's not there. There's no one that's there. There's nowhere to get to. There's no one that's lost. There's no one that found it. In the dream, it may appear, saying that there are going to be, someone that has realized this or whatever. But simply, Casey goes, simply no one awakens because it's a dream. There's no dreamer. It's a dream. There's, I think, what was that you wrote down earlier? There is no separate dreamers that's dreaming of one thing. There's no singular dreamer that's manifesting as 8 billion. That's just another illusion. Again, there is a selective, interpretation of what is sometimes when it comes into a teaching, because it has to come from an authority. It has to come from a self-realized being, what liberation is. So when one, for example, realizes it, then there is an automatic separateness, thinking that I got this and you don't have this. So what's being expressed here is no one's got it. No one awakens. No one is asleep. This is a dream. So there's no knowledge or experience of self-knowledge or things. There's no way to self-realization because there's no self to realize. For example, kind of like, if you're looking at a whole mirage, you're not going to say that this is partial mirage and it's an illusion. Or for example, in a dream at night, when you have this massive dream that seems very lucid or vivid and everything, you're not going to say that part of that was absolutely real. There's an absolute part of that. No, it's all a dream. Because if there is a part, even a minuscule part of it that is real and unreal, and then the rest is a dream, then that's dualistic already. Again, there's nothing wrong or right about dualism or non-dualism. But what we're being expressed here is just the openness, the obviousness that nothing is separate. Oh, great to see you too. Question here. Can you please talk about unconditional love? Unconditional love is what is. But what is cannot be really talked about, because the moment that the word love comes into mind, it becomes a separate idea of what is. It becomes a condition. There's seemingly a condition. You know, usually when people talk about unconditional love, when I was a teacher, my bio said Emerson was a teacher of unconditional love. You can't teach something that's unconditional. So what is unconditional love is really hard to talk about because it appears as everything. It appears as the good, the bad, and the ugly. It appears as what is liked and what is not liked. It appears as pleasant or unpleasant. It's in everything. So unconditional love is what is appearing and what is not appearing simultaneously. What unconditional love is unknowable, and talking about it is it's impossible because it appears in everything. If we have, you know, an infinite amount of time, then I can talk about it because I have to mention everything. Unconditional love is this, unconditional love is whatever that is appearing. Unconditional love is always present in everything. It's present in what is disliked and what is everything. But thank you for that question. Thank you. Well, question here. Unconditional love is the good, the bad, and the ugly. They're beautiful because everything is neutrally beautiful, totally unconditional. Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Katriana. Jenny goes, please tell me about the light. It is only apparent. You can say this, you know what? These are just words that cannot really point to what is, because what is appears in everything. You can say that everything is light. Everything is a play of light. Everything is appearing as just light, but that's just another creating another mental construct of what is. And even saying what is just another construct, right? Even saying that just this, it's just really plain. It's really simple. But I can lovingly talk about the light, that this is all light, even the darkest corner, even the perils, or even the what is this like, this light? Everything is light. Everything is an illusion. And when the lights are turned on, nothing is happening. It's a play of light. Thank you. Some kind of attachment has apparently broke down, and it was like an ice breaking off a glacier. Yes. The biggest attachment usually is the identification or the unification of thinking that there was something that was separate. So the separateness, the illusion of separateness is very persistent because it is apparent. It appears in everything. But what is does not need any kind of like thinking or any attachment or anything at all. Petra. Hey, Petra.
Hi.
Hello.
I was thinking today about that this feeling of being a person and feeling separate. It's so scary. And in let's say my story, most of the time it was so scary, and it came with so much tension, which I wanted to get rid of. When I'm looking kind of back, it was always about how can I get rid of this this tension. So
yeah,
and it left when I was in love, but then it came much stronger afterwards. And I think somehow you can understand that there's no separation, but it's deconstructed
it's a
energy.
felt sense of felt sense of separation, but that's the illusion, right? Because the illusion is going to come as persistent, as strong as it is. So the felt sense of separation is very, very real, but it's also not real at the same time, right? So that's when they see it's real and unreal. So what seemingly is wanted is the loss or the getting rid of what feels real, although it's not real at the same time. It's like I'm trying to wake up from a nightmare when it's only a nightmare. So it feels absolutely real, and it is what it is.
Yeah, doing so much, apparently doing so much things to get rid of this or unbearable tension somehow.
Yeah.
But it's what it is, and it's it stops when it stops. But it's nice when it's a bit softer, like it is this apparent days. And
it's softer, right? It's
like catch
it's
a
like
breath
you just
again
went to that big roller coaster and it just went down. And you know when you kind of like, have you ever gone skydiving, Petra?
No, not yet.
It's really good. So there's a lot of fear, right? There's a lot of tension in trying to, so it's going to be feeling contracted. But when you finally jump, there's this big wow. And then when you're slowly kind of like going down, there's this softness to it. So the fear is kind of like there's this giant fear that appears, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. You're kind of like trying to step back in the thing. And even though when you're in tandem and everything, and although someone's saying that it's going to be all right, and you're stressed, and you're kind of like, I should have not done this. In that moment, there is this big contraction. And then when somebody finally pushes you out of the plane and then the chute's open, you start screaming because you're afraid, saying of the unknown, right? But when the unknown becomes this kind of like when you're just kind of like floating all the way down, there's this niceness and softness and relaxation. The same thing with like roller coasters, right? It's kind of like when you're going up and then you scream at the top of your lungs and you're like, why Why did I ride this roller coaster?
Yeah, and also with the, I know it from stage fever.
Yeah.
And then you play the concert. Wow,
it is. Yeah,
so great. Yeah.
It's like when I DJ sometimes, right? Not anymore, but in the past, if there's this, I'm like, oh, why did I put myself in this situation? And then midway through, you're like, oh, you love it, right? Because it's just what is. There's just no more kind of like idea of it. It's always the fear of the unknown, but this is the unknown.
Yeah, and also with
it's
this,
always the unknown.
I'm thrilled because I'm gonna play next week on a funeral, and I haven't played on church organ in a while.
Oh wow!
And yeah, I'm a bit scared, but now it's not as bad as before when I thought, wow, I'm gonna fuck up. I mean, it's
Again, all of that can like contracted, kind of like like thoughts and everything, right? Like I'm gonna fuck up, I'm gonna die. Like when you're jumping off a thing, it's the scary part. And sometimes you know what, it reinforces this feeling of separation. Although that's also what is appearing as that.
Yeah. It's I know this pattern very well.
Yeah.
But
it's just a pattern. It's just a pattern. Yeah. It's just a when I was reading somewhere that physics will never figure out what is, because all they will ever see is no solidity but just patterns.
Yeah, but it's so comforting that no one does it. It's just what's happening.
Yeah, it's just a happening. Simple.
Yeah. For no one.
For no one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question here. With no associated religious affiliations, could it be said that everything is God? You could also say that, but the reason I don't use that word is because there is a weight to it right away. There is a connotation or an attachment to it right away. There is a especially coming, this character coming from a religious background, the moment that word is mentioned, it comes into religious. But yeah, you could also say that. You could also say that everything is cinnamon rolls. No one knows. And the words that we use, what I'm saying, the words, if there is a noticing that the word that is used has a weight to it, like the word God or consciousness and awareness, that seems to be the shackle that holds, the character into believing that it's separate. It becomes another attachment. So when there is as I said, when everything is burnt down, although no one's burning it, even that, even any kind of attachment, and then there's this seeming unconditionality in the freedom of what is, because it's not held by an idea or a concept or religion, even with no association. But yeah, you can also say that. There's nothing wrong or right about saying that. But again, what's being expressed doesn't come into a position, because that would be another position. You can say that everything is and everything is not. Simultaneously. Yeah. Hi, Emerson. What do you think about Buddhism, Dzogchen? I don't really. I was tempted, when I was a teacher, to study a little bit and even go to a monastery, but I'm not really. I don't really have much to say, to be honest, because it's just something that I never did. Maybe Petra can help me, but from what I, from someone basically is asking about Buddhism, of what it is, right? So if you can help, because I don't really know much about it. I know that you and Jonathan have gone through it.
Yeah, Dzogchen is Tibetan Buddhism, and just to comment on it. I mean, it says you're already awakened, but you don't realize it, and gives you a method. But yeah, methods which keep you in duality.
Reinforces it, yeah. The dualism, yeah.
So
I did read, a dog sand book before, and it's beautiful sometimes, right? But it's a teaching again. It's just another teaching. And there's nothing wrong or right about teachings.
If
it's
you
just
put
what is.
to doctrine or heading into church, it's fine. Why not?
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. There's no problems. It's just what is. But what I because I was an addicted learner and teacher, like it was just all about knowing. It's like the more that you know, the heavier the burden of undoing, because it was all a doing. And it was the idea that I was controlling everything. It was very solipsistic, that everything revolved around me and my learnings and my teachings and all that kind of stuff. And I see something, because I've read a lot of books in Buddhism as well, because it's very interesting. One thing that fascinated me is like, a lot of the lately someone's been sending me books and everything about some monks that have gone basically gone against the grain, goes against the grain, and became like, I don't know if you've heard about that. That they were monks, but they ended up drinking and all that kind of stuff, and going against the grain, and found some wisdom in it or whatever. Again, you know what? These are just all stories, and it's just a narrative of something that that something is missing. That's basically it.
I think especially the karma thing puts a lot of weight on your shoulders, that you can, change your life as you want, and
there's always something lacking. There's always something to correct. There's always some doing happening, which is to me very Santa Claus. You better watch out. You better not cry. Very, very there's nothing wrong about it. It's just what it is. But it's just, for me, religion and spirituality are just a circular reinforcement that there is a self that needs to be fixed or needs to be dropped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leah. Hey, Leah.
Hi, I'm back again.
No worries. Good to see you.
The question came up. I'm in between patients, but I wanted to ask you real quick. I'm at work. So I think one of the concepts I'm having a little bit of trouble digesting is that nothing is nothing. And I think I got a little depressed staying in nothing.
Yeah.
And then it was witnessed that nothing is everything.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing when you get into that space of everything.
Yeah.
But nothing still feels to me like a space of pure potentiality. Like
So nothing is the way that usually the way that we process what nothing is just this idea of empty, but it's vastness. Like you said, it everything can arise from it. It's not a stoic or it's not a solidity, because that's kind of like coming into a conclusion. Nothing is the vast openness of everything that is already as it is. So it appears as, as a bad day, then that's also nothing. It appears as this grand gesture of whatever, you know what I'm saying? It could be this grandness, or it could be the most minuscule. That's also nothing. But everything that's moving is an illusion, but it's also stillness happening at the same time.
So it's noticed when this character stays in a heart space. It almost feels like an energy that reverberates and people change around me. And that could be just part of the story, but it feels like such a love coming from the nothingness that's so embodied within the experience.
That's beautiful. Yeah. It's just a
Yeah.
story, but you know what I'm saying? But it is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's just this, it's just when there's this clarity, right? There's this clarity. You could name it whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? It's just names and names and names. And it's just, and there's no, and it's just really emptiness pouring into whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just as it is. And if it feels that way, like, what when everything is a story that doesn't really matter, right? It's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So why not enjoy? And
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
As if you have any choice anyway to enjoy or not, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But it's a feeling like, I know it's not a choice, but it feels like this heart space is arising more.
Yeah.
And feel,
it's
I
the
don't
same.
know.
It's the same with me, like walking. Let me share my narrative about it. It's like I really hated the snow before, but now seemingly, you know what? I'm kind of like singing along, walking in snow, -20 weather. There's an openness, and there's openness. You know, I think one time I was like, my song was even wrong because I used to sing "Singing in the Rain," you know, because I used to live in Vancouver where it rained a lot. And here it's like blizzard and everything. I'm like singing in the rain. I don't know what a snow song is yet. So, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Awesome. That cleared up a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Back to work.
Back to work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have a question, Corey? I'm not sure if I saw. Hi, Corey.
I didn't put my hand up.
Oh, okay. Okay, I must be. How are you?
Oh, not very brilliant at the moment. I've just got a bit of attack of ME, I think.
Sorry?
Not too brilliant at the moment.
Not too brilliant. Oh.
No, just so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So struggling a little bit.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions, just go like that. But it is what it is. Sometimes it's not going to feel brilliant. Sometimes it's brilliant. It is what it is. Yeah. And I still haven't forgotten about our chat. I'm just very forgetful. So you have to email me again.
Okay. I will.
All right.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emerson. Thank you.
Of course. Hi, Emerson. Every time that someone mentions the word God, it triggers me a little bit because I think there's still a belief system in hopes that I will be united or is one with God. Can you please illuminate some of this difficulty and feelings when the word God is mentioned? Yes, and it's very valid. It's very valid because for quite a while there was this longing to be, it's one of those belief systems that is quite hard. This is not about being kind of like not believing in anything. It's just there's just no one here that believes in anything. It's not a belief about another belief. It's kind of like what I mentioned the other day. It's like burning down the house. Everything that I held on to, including this sacred cow of my belief system with the source or self, burnt down, and it was just so obvious that what was held on to was the anchor in in the belief system that maintained the identity, maintained the separation. Because believing in a separate source, or even believing that you were separate somehow, and then but you really are the source, or you really are the self or God, was quite hard to dislodge. I spent years teaching about it. I spent more than a decade in expressing it, and everything that I did, everything that I was doing I thought was a maintenance of my faith system, that there is just this blind faith in thinking that there is a higher self, or this version of me is illusory, but there is a reality called God. And when that was maintained, that was quite hard to let go, because there was an investment. It's like it's like, and then if you look at it, what really is the difference from that in thinking that Santa Claus is watching you, whether you're good or bad? That I had to be worthy to be united with the source, because the idea of God, or is this purity. So I did a whole bunch of practices, did a lot of abstinence, thinking that there was something wrong with me, and there was something that I needed to correct, that I needed to help others find the right way, find the right purpose. So it's in a very dualistic mind frame, if you really look at it, that the belief system in something that you're separated from is just another illusion. Because separation is, simply put, I really like what Tej said earlier, that it's really simple. Separation is an illusion. Scientifically, if you look at it, there's nothing separate. And then if you look at what is being expressed here, what is appearing in everything. What is everything. What is nothing and everything. What is this. So when there is a preference of what is should be, then there is a greater what is, a higher what is, and a lower what is. Do you see what I'm talking about now? There's like, I need to correct what is. But this is what is, that is what is, everything is what is. It's just always as it is. So there was this idea, the reason that there was, I felt the same way, when listening to this communication, because I kind of, I was protecting that I was right, that I had a position, that I had a realization that I am God, that I am everything. But that ownership, that attachment of something that's not separate, creates this hierarchy on what seems to be is just plainly nothing. It's just really nothing. It's making the dream into a special dream of my realization that I am the dreamer. But there's no dreamer. There's no one dreaming. Because if there was a dreamer, then there would be separation. Then it made the separation real. When what is being expressed here is that there is no such thing as separation, it's just an illusion. When there is a dream, the dream is the illusion. But there's no separate dreamers. So there's just this wholeness already. But in the dream, it feels absolutely real. In the dream, it feels like there is separation, but it's a dream. And that does not need to be realized because it is what it is. But yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. I feel a little bit better now because there is a resistance listening to this communication, thinking that this is just a hedonistic or debaucherous kind of like practice that nothing is happening. That's too, what's wrong with that? Again, you know what, there's this false dichotomy, right? That there's this separateness and everything. There's this, either, this holy, sacred, pure, divine, and then there is this, debaucherous, anarchy, chaos, and everything. But they're the same. They're the same. They're not. There's no higher or lower. There is no preferable or non-preferable. Everything in the dream is a dream. There's no better dream, and there's no hierarchy in dreams. There's nothing less than or more than when it's all equally a dream. So it appears as it is. Yeah. Because the moment that there is an idea of a separate higher source or a God or the I am or consciousness or awareness, there is a going to, there is an abiding, there is and there's nothing wrong or right if that's your trip. but it's very the practice in it is almost like a self-flagellation when there's no self. What's being expressed here does not need any maintenance whatsoever. And this might not sound attractive to a lot of characters because there is this wanting to be how do I use that word in a better way? Compliant, not blasphemous, a good character, a holy being. There's this preference for the purity and the idea of the good, and it dismisses anything, but everything is the good, the bad, and the ugly. It appears in everything. It's not just one thing. There's no prerequisites to something that is already free. There's no qualifications. There's no the best question that I've ever been asked is, I don't think you've suffered enough. I love that question. And seriously, what I'm saying, because I thought that I had to be worthy of this apparent attainment, although no one attains this, that I had to suffer, that I had to lie on the ground, do everything that I can, do selfless service. It was like, no wonder, saying it's funny because there was this, and this is just a story. This is just a really funny story, right? So for quite a while, right? So it looked like there was a big journey from Catholic Emerson to teacher Emerson into no Emerson. But all Emersons are illusory because there's never been really an Emerson. It's just a name. And then when I talk to some characters that basically like, hey, Emerson, I just this is my first week in non-duality. I encountered your your video to algorithms through YouTube. So I thought I'd book a one-on-one. Not even like 20 minutes and everything. They're like, okay, it's done. Yeah, everything is nothing. Nothing is everything. Thank you. So here's just the narrative of it. This is just a really funny story, right? I'm like, there's no jealousy or anything, but it's kind of funny because, in the story of Emerson, there was this like 20, 30 years of seeking, suffering, losing everything, and then losing everything again, and then losing everything. There's just this thing, but it's all a story. So there's no hierarchy in stories because nothing really happens. So it doesn't matter if you're seeking for 40, 50 years, or in this character, maybe 30 years, when it's really nothing. When it's seen that this is it already, that there's nothing that's needed, the 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years does not really matter because there's no time. This is not about time. Time is separation. Hi, Emerson. Can you talk about destiny? I don't even know what that is anymore. Destiny is when, can someone help me? Destiny is when it's meant to be, right? Is that? It's you're destined to be whatever it's meant to be. Since it's seen here that this is just timelessness appearing as time, it might appear as destiny, but there's no such thing as destiny at the same time. There's nothing destined to be whatever it is because it's a dream. It's like making something real in an illusion. You can also say that destiny is an illusion. It's just another idea in separation. If you want to add that to that question, please go ahead about destiny. I was just about to add that Emerson probably had a destiny of realization. No. Okay, so that narrative is just a story. There was no journey or destination of Emerson that he needed to. It will be really great for a book, for like a screenplay, that there was this destiny of whatever. It's kind of like, but it reeks of specialness. That there was Emerson destined for realization, because that's just another special idea. Again, special ideas are just separate ideas. There's really nothing here that happened to anyone. Yeah. But thank you. I get what you're saying, that there was this destiny for this character, but no. In the story, it might seem that way, but what seems that way in a story is illusory as well. Hi, Emerson. Can you shed some light about apparent awakenings, or what's that word? Or realizations? It seems like a lot of awakenings and realizations are like manic episodes. I'm not really an expert in mental health issues and everything, but what is what is, right? It's not episodes really. That's just another idea. There is utmost respect for characters here. You know what I'm saying? It will not discount anyone, although there's no one, in the story. Okay, there's a follow-up question here. I'll get to you, Lauren. I'm just going to attend to this question because I noticed someone that was a non-duality speaker that seemed like the character was very manic in expressing this and everything. And it was mentioned that that character had some mental illness. There's nothing wrong or right about any of that, right? It's just what's appearing. And again, I don't really like talking down on speakers, it's or teachers or whatever anymore. It's just what is. Oh, thank you, Cal. I've gone back in time. It's funny because I'm playing with the filters on my phone and I can't seem to take it out of this filter, but I like it too. Hey, Lauren, go ahead.
Hi.
Hello.
I just wanted to talk about something funny briefly when you were talking about the compliance.
Yes.
I went to this event that was part of like a previous spiritual group.
Yeah.
That I've been part of. And this was like in, I don't know, November. And I started listening to this message in apparent, summer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went and everyone was so proper.
Yeah.
It was like this sort of like almost imperceptible like imposition that you needed to be calm and like you needed to be soft spoken. And I just like for the first time in my life, because I never used to be like this, but I just wanted to like run around and like shake people and like
Yeah.
here. And a woman who I might have had some like drama with in the past, I just wanted to like shove her and call her a bitch. You effing bitch. Like, oh man. Obviously I would never do that because like it's not, I'm not it's just not there, but that was like the vibe and it was so funny. It just, I can't go back, I can't.
Yeah. I remember like going to a guru and everyone's like staring down at my feet. I'm like, what's wrong with my feet? You're not supposed to show the bottom of your feet to the guru, right? And here I was kind of like sitting and right, there's just certain things that or I remember going to one guru and there was this limousine and there's guru with this robe and just hushed and everything and everyone is just enamored with this dude and everything and would be walking in and all that compliance and everything. So when you have a guru that's almost like the representative of God, right? So this is God incarnated into this thing and you feel lesser and you want to be there and you want to worship and adore and all that kind of stuff like that. Compliance and adoration, right? So it's almost like but I'd rather adore kind of like a manic, like homeless dude, I'm saying, like on the street. I adore that. Seriously. I'm saying just this, there's clarity sometimes. I like talking to homeless people and sometimes there's so much clarity, right? And it's the same thing, right? And there's just this clarity in everything. It doesn't have to be a man in robes and everything. It could be a homeless person ranting on the street. And it's there's no sacredness, and you know what I'm saying, sacredness is not reserved for a man in a robe, right? So I like that. I like the kind of like responding to that person earlier. I have respect, you know what I'm saying, for crazy realization. Sometimes it's just wonderful. You're like, I one time I was just amazed with this dude on the street and he was just saying, he goes, this is already paradise. And I thought it was a Jesus freak at one point, right? Because it was just kind of like ranting, this is paradise. I'm like, oh, this is a non-duality dude. It was really, really fascinating. And then basically ask, I'm like, can I take you out for coffee or whatever? But to others, he seemed like this person that has, but I just had so much respect, right? And I'm like, so how did you see this clarity? And he goes, through madness. And I'm like, oh, wow. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. I got the image of like just a really like gnarly tree, like a really like a tree that's been there for like 1,000 years and it's just got like everything going on.
Yeah.
So glorious too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. But thank you for that apparent story of holiness. And there's nothing wrong. Again, you know what, with a lot of the religiousness and spirituality is just pageantry. That's just pageantry. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what is. Hi, Emerson. So when there's no belief system in anything like source or self, where is this happiness coming from? See, that's the thing. There is this ecstasy of not knowing. There's this, oh, wow, there's this openness because there's no location. There is this bewilderment, an awness that this is not happening and happening at the same time. And there's no one here that knows anything. So there's no maintenance of this unconditional freedom because it is what is. And it doesn't have to be a belief system. Even if it appears as a belief system, that's okay too. It doesn't have appear as consciousness or awareness. If it appears as that, who cares? But what is being expressed here is that there is just this wowness to everything that's appearing. Jenny goes, I just read that depression is an ego trip. Interesting. Interesting. If you want to talk about that, Jenny, please go ahead. I like Jenny's writings. You guys should follow her on Medium. Hey, Jenny.
Hi,
Are you
Emerson.
back in Baja?
Yeah, I'm back in Baja.
Oh, nice. You have the big smile on your face. You must be in Baja.
Yeah, I always open up a lot more when I'm here.
Yeah, I noticed.
So I was thinking earlier that I've been coming to the end of seeking ever since I found non-duality.
Yeah.
And that's been over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I'm waiting for that last sentence or something that's gonna bring it to a complete stop.
The end of seeking is just a story.
Yeah.
It's just a story. It's just a story. You know what? It's funny because there is this, there is no ending to anything, because an ending is just another realization. This is not about realization. This is the openness about everything. This is the relaxation that, who cares if seeking ends or not? Because it's an illusion. Who cares? Right. I'm still seeking, but for the best cinnamon roll. You know, no longer.
Yeah.
There's still a seeking energy, but for cinnamon rolls. But there's really no it's not an ending because it never really started. It's already done. You are not even seeking.
All right.
Yeah.
I was a hardcore believer, and now I'm more like an agnostic.
Yeah.
But that's not completely gone to the no separation area, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand intellectually that there's no separation, but I still live in a dream of separation.
Yeah. Well, so what? It's okay. It's all right. It is what it is, right? But you're just putting some words into something that is already as it is. There's really no separation. Right. It's just an illusion. So it's almost like maintaining it is reinforcing it. But when it's seen that everything is all right as it is, it's already done. It's already complete. It's already finished. But there's this cyclical idea of like, oh, when am I going to end seeking? When am I going to hear? It's almost like a reinforcement that that not something that needs to happen. Nothing needs to happen.
And I can see that when I'm in Baja, it's easily seen that nothing needs to happen.
Yeah.
But when you send me back to Michigan, it's another story.
Well, call me when you go back to Michigan. We'll talk about it, but it's the same.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you, Jenny. Oh, thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you for what you said. Oh, I wanted to ask you about that question that depression is an ego trip, Jenny.
Okay. I read that on Facebook. Am I frozen?
Yeah. Yeah. You're there.
Okay. No, somebody said that on Facebook that their spirituality helped them and see that depression was just an ego trip.
You know what the biggest ego trip is? Do you want to know?
What?
Thinking that
Yeah.
there's an ego. But that's interesting, though. It's interesting because it's a narrative. I used to be severely depressed, right? Because I used to, yeah, it was horrible. I could not get out, but I had to pretend that I was okay, right? It's the like I could not get out of bed. You know, it's just really heavy. It was so heavy because I repeated the notion that I was a failure. I was a failure. So there was this reinforcement of the character that somehow I've failed, somehow, or either that it's either being trapped in the historic, narrative about, the failure of Emerson, or the longing for the vindication, the longing for the redemption in the future. So it was never in the apparent moment. It was always kind of like avoiding the historical or the future. So it was going back and forth. It was going back and forth, and it was just quite a torture. So it felt like a trip. I was going back into the past, traveling to the future, although there's no future or past. It felt like I was journeying back and forth into something that is unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in my narrative, I have manic depression or bipolar.
Oh, what?
And so I experienced the manic.
How was the
awakening.
manic with this apparent communication? It must be fantastic.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It seems to align with the energy very well. And I've had manic experiences that felt like spiritual awakenings.
Yeah, beautiful.
And but I mean, it's all a story. So
it is. It is, yeah.
But it's my story, and I want to lay ownership on this story.
Yeah.
But no one owns it. So
yeah.
It just is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
I can change it, can't I? Can I change my story?
Well, there's no you changing it, but change happens in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an occurrence, right? So there's change that happens in the story. I was talking to, it's funny, the person that was I was talking to earlier had an apparent kind of like, what do you call it, glimpse in a conversation, and the person basically said that it felt like a manic episode, basically kind of like, everything is free, everything is, and I was talking to this person for a couple of days. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. That's fun. It is what it is. Even manic episodes is what is. There's nothing wrong or right or the opposite. You know what I'm saying? It is what is. Even when you don't want to leave Baja, that is what is as well.
Right.
Yeah. But it does, what the person that I was talking to, it was just very kind of like euphoric, the way that it was described. Goes, oh, Emerson, I went for like a 2-day hike. I'm like, what? Everything is beautiful, everything is, and it comes crashing. Goes, I think the me is back. I'm like, no, the manic episode is the apparent manic episode is over. And then it just goes, It's beautiful though, whatever it is, right? It's like the
Yeah.
the impermanence of what seems to be happening and the stillness of what is appearing simultaneously. It can appear
That's
as this
beautiful.
manic thing. It could appear as this, this kind of like lying in bed for 2 days kind of thing. But the stillness is
Yeah.
always present in everything. And that's what
That's
is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Casey. In the story. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I think that's all the questions for now. It's funny when there's no time. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good, we'll back in about an hour.